You want to say that again? Nice and slow. My name is Isaac Reed Postma.
Isaac has spinal muscular atrophy, type 1. He was diagnosed when he was about 5 months old. When the doctors told us, they said typically kids with his condition don't live to be 2. As he kept getting older, I said to someone, we don't plan beyond a couple weeks because we just don't know what's going to happen. And so when he got old enough for school, we had a daughter who was at Byron Center Christian, and we went, oh, okay, can he come to school here?
Now, Isaac came to us when he was 4 years old, into preschool, and was probably the highest need student in terms of physical needs that we ever had here.
So we just kind of went to him and we said, you know, your mission statement says that, you know, you're here to educate, you know, God's children. And I said, we want that for our son, but we also understand that his health is fragile and that we're taking a risk by sending him to school, but we still wanted that. And, you know, are you interested in doing that? And then I remember they did call CLC and say, ooh, what would this look like?
So the Christian Learning Center is an agency that really has as its mission to help various communities include folks who need unique supports.
And I remember sitting in a room with representatives from CLC and the principal and the inclusion, you know, component part of it and the teacher. And some faces were more like, oh yeah, this is easy. And there were other faces that were definitely like, what? You can't put that person in my classroom.
Well, I think most teachers at the beginning are a little bit fearful, a little bit hesitant, and understandably so. Isaac has some high needs.
Basically, it's a deteriorating condition. It means he doesn't have any muscles to do from the simplest to he needs help breathing, swallowing, he can't eat. He's always had a feeding tube, so he uses a ventilator. His movement now is down to fingertip movement. Sorry, bud. Can we do some coughs? How about 3 good ones? 1. 2. 1 more. 3.
Growing up with Isaac, it was like really tough because I felt like, even like now, I still feel like I go home and I'm like a nurse. I feel like I'm not, kind of like I already have that mom position, which gets really tiring sometimes.
In the past, when he was younger, it was frustrating for him if people didn't understand and he wouldn't want to repeat himself.
Well, one huge thing was understanding him at first, because, I mean, yeah, that's a big one.
He lays completely flat, so his turning radius is a lot larger than a wheelchair. Okay, it's wheelchair accessible. Well, there's just one step up. Well, that one step may be, 5 inches, but his wheelchair weighs 200 pounds and I can't physically bump it up. Well, then we get to gym class. What's he gonna do in gym class?
You go outside for PE class and also you gotta think, okay, can we go out back behind this school, down the hill? Doesn't work so well with Isaac on his cart. There was so many unknowns, and I remember I kept saying, I have no expectations of this. I just want to give it a chance and let's see what God can do with this. And the school said, let's do this. The school's been really good about just making the small changes that we've needed every day. We need a special table. Okay, we got to figure out how he's going to get in here and how's he going to use the bathroom if he's going to be here full time. And okay, you have a big step out to the playground. How are you going to, we'll put in the ramp. So we put in a ramp. We never at any point looked beyond preschool. We said, we'll do what it takes for preschool. We'll see how it goes. 12 years later, we are still doing this. So we feel extremely blessed. They've accepted Isaac and our family and been open to do what it takes to make sure that he's part of the school community.
I don't think they start from the perspective of saying, oh, that's just too much, we can't do it. They start from the perspective of saying, that's what we're about. That is, all of our kids are part of our community. What will it take to make this happen? They have, frankly, made a commitment to each other to say, we are in this thing together.
He is just part of the class, and he does as much as they can with him. Usually the helper is pushing him around, or a student will help him out.
He can be the timer, he can be the coach. You know, those are all adaptations that we just figure out as we go.
They get him involved. Like if we go jogging laps, a lot of times kids will push him. But when we're playing games, he's usually as close to the action as he can get.
You know, before he went to school, that was one of my biggest fears was, will he have friends? And I didn't know if it would happen.
We were somewhat fearful, but what was really exciting was just to see how the kids accepted him as a classmate and a peer.
It's just been a blessing to see that God has put people into his life and they truly are his friends.
He just has a lot of great friends, and not because they feel sorry for him, they just like to be with him.
Got any friends? Mm-hmm. Yep. Lots of friends? Mm-hmm. Yep. You got a friend coming over? Mm-hmm. Caleb. He must like you a lot. Mm-hmm. He's Bud, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Their first kind of encounter, I guess, or Caleb came home and said, Mom, Isaac and I were just getting along, but he is a Michigan State fan, and I'm a Michigan fan, and I don't like that. Well, then the next day he came home. Yeah, I set Isaac straight. I told him Michigan State sucks. And I said, well, you can't tell someone in a wheelchair their team sucks. And Caleb looked at me like, what do you mean a wheelchair? That never entered Caleb's mind. It still doesn't enter his mind. They are just normal boys, normal friendship.
In some ways, I view Isaac as an ordinary kid. You know, I see him in the hall, I say, good morning, Isaac, how you doing? And on the other hand, he's laying down on a cart, right? He's in a lot of ways not an ordinary student, and I think that's part of what makes it work. A student with special needs isn't like viewed as so special. They are, but they are so much a part of what we do here that they become the norm.
I know he sees himself as different, but I think he understands that and he just accepts it because his friends accept it too. So knowing that his friends and all his family love him the way he is, I think that's what helps him.
Yes, he has a disability, and yes, they have to help him do things, but they banter, they pray for each other, you know, they tease each other, he misses them when he's not around.
When he comes over to my house, we have our favorite game, which is on my Xbox, which is NCAA 13.
He loves to play the iPad and do Wii, and he just got an email address, so he loves emailing his friend who has SMA down in Texas. It was like a really nice day, and it was like in the middle of winter, so I was like, I really could go out for a run today. And I was like, Isaac should do that. I should do that with Isaac. So I just felt like at BCCS, he's already involved in so much stuff already, but I feel like there's so much more he could do. I'm doing track with Isaac, so on our track meet on Friday, I'm pushing him in the 100, which he's really excited about.
To me, the inclusive ed is, I'm blown away by it. Just the impact it has on all the students. I mean, for Isaac, how neat that he is simply a part of the class.
It's about us together understanding all of our needs, because each of us has needs, but also understanding that each of us brings unique gifts. And Isaac brings as many gifts as any other kid. They might be different in ways, but he also is, again, a gifted contributor to this community.
We have needs as well, and we expect a Christian community to come around us and meet those needs. Why would we not do the same?
For Isaac not to be at Byron Center Christian is a loss to Byron Center Christian. The more interdependence we cultivate and provide opportunity for, the stronger our communities and the more representation of God's kingdom here on earth that we have.
When we do inclusion, we find that whole classes tend to become more understanding of one another.
Like there's this other side of the kids that they wouldn't have had if Isaac wasn't part of their class. And you can't teach it. I mean, you have to live it, that compassion.
It's a blessing. I think I hope that we're a blessing to those kids and their parents, but certainly they have blessed us in ways that are kind of hard to measure, really, because it impacts attitudes of kids for the next generation.
To me, Christian schools and inclusive ed should just go together. I mean, I think how can we claim to be the whole body of Christ if the whole body of Christ isn't part of our school? And I look at that class and I think that to me is the body of Christ. They all have something to contribute, and they all contribute it in their own unique way. And if Isaac's not there, I think their lives would be less complete.
Isaac has blessed my life in many ways.
Having Isaac in my life has made me so much more grateful for what I have.
He has just taught me so much about resilience, about what life really is. But I think the blessing of having Isaac here at school really has been about seeing God at work in a very real way every day.
He's, I think, taught these kids that for all of us to be happy in the situation that we're in and to enjoy every minute that we have while we're here, that it's a gift.
You know, when Isaac had surgery in 2nd grade, the doctors told us, they said, you know, the odds are 60-40 that he'll come through this, but he needed it done. And I remember everybody in the whole school came and they laid hands on him. And we prayed, and I thought, this is a community accepting him.
It's an opportunity for us to serve one another. And I would just hate for anybody to miss out on that opportunity, because when you help meet the needs of others, you in turn are blessed. And I think it reflects what heaven will be like, except for the fact they'll all be healed. And that'll be even more amazing.
When you grow up, what do you want to be?
Football player. Yeah? You gonna run over people in your chair? Yeah? You think they're gonna let that on the field? They're gonna change the rules so that you can do that? All right.
Life is fragile, and you know, God is still in this no matter what happens. And I think every day God gives us glimpses of what awaits us in heaven.